Hello and welcome back, friends. So in this video, we will see how to play around with various card views. Simply put, our use case is that when the adaptive card loads in the first go during the initial rendering, we will present one card view with some text, some initial text and some buttons. But after our business logic has executed, we have made an API call, we would like to switch that initial card view to something else. It could be use cases. Think of it as we load the first card view saying, hello, welcome user, blah, blah, blah. Click on this button to get your departmental information, for example. The user clicks on it, we make an API call, there is some error. So we would like to show flip the card with an error card, right? Also, let's say we have to develop a card which will present a user with some message and different button options based on some random number generation. Maybe you are running a lottery scheme or lottery application, and then you would like to switch the view, whether a person has won or lost depending upon certain condition, right? So we'll look into this, how to go about coding that part in adaptive card extensions in SharePoint SPFX. And then in the second part, we will also look on how to tap the button clicks in the card view. So let's get started. This is the basic card. It's an initial view. Nothing has been changed as yet. So to show you the code, I return this card registration ID, which is basically one card I have right now, and then that's my initial view and initial view. Now let's take for an argument case that our use case is that in case we generate a random number, and if the random number is greater than, let's say, 5, then we show one card, and if it is less than 5, then we show another card, right? So how to go about writing that kind of logic within adaptive card SPFX project? So for the first thing I would need to do, of course, is to copy and paste my card views. So I'll create one more. So oops, I need 1 and 2, so I don't need this guy. Let's remove this. Yes, and let me name it to card view high, which is high means greater than 5 in our case. And then this one I can change to card view low. Low, of course, is less than 5. So I have these two different cards. I would go here. Let's also change it to card view to high. Right, and then over here I can change card view for number greater than 5. Card view, you know what, let's copy the same thing because it really doesn't matter. And if the number is 5, you know what, let's keep 2 buttons. That should be fine. Let's go to card view low. Over here I would like to have only one button, just a quick view. And this is card view low, less than 5, and here I can say the same thing. Voila. So I have 2 cards with 2 different buttons. I need to change this thing. Voila, 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 everything is fine. Let's save everything. Yeah, so our card view high and low is done. Now let's go to the meat of the project. So BT card, adaptive card extension, right? What do I need to do over here? The first thing, of course, I need to do is to create new registry IDs for my different cards. Yeah, let's go ahead, Control C, Control V. Let's change it to, we keep the basic ID like this. Let's change it to high. We change this to low. Don't forget to change this key also, because I made a mistake when I was preparing for this demo. I didn't mention the card key over here. I had to change this one, and if we do not do it, it will throw an error. I mean, it will not throw an error, but it will always give you this card, the basic card, and nothing will happen. Okay. So far so good. Let's go ahead, and I need to incorporate my two new cards also. So this has to be card view, let's call it high. This has to be, let's call it low. Everything seems to be okay. Card view high, card view low. Voila. So this is good, this is good. Then we need to of course register it over here with the card navigator. Let's go ahead and register our views, and I would call it for high, and this is for low, and this is high, and card view low. So far so good. Now let's go to the render card function, because that's where we are telling the framework what card to load over here, right? So let's go ahead and define our randomness over here. Let's say let number is math dot floor, and then I say math dot random, give me a random number. Oops. Multiply by I think I need to do -0 plus, I think it's 1, and plus 0, 10. I think it should be minus here. I always get this thing wrong. Did I do it correctly? I think so. Now, and then I can say so this should give me a number between 1 to 10, and then I can say const my card ID is number greater than 5. If it is greater than 5, then you give me, let's say, high. And if it is less than this, then you give me low. So that's my card ID. I get this number and I put it here. Now, what will happen in my case, as soon as I refresh the page multiple times, sometimes it should show me one card and sometimes it should show me another one. Did it save everything? Yes. So let's have a quick look. I will refresh it. What happens? It should not be initial view, that's for sure, because we had removed the initial view. I refresh it again. Still number greater than 5. Ooh. It's always giving me number greater than 5. Ah, now it was greater than. There was once we found less than 5. Let me keep on reducing it. There it is. For some reason, the probability, it should be 50-50 probability, right? I have no clue what's going on, but anyway, we can see that the card has changed. But of course, you will say, hey, actually, we are not going to do this, refresh every time and so on. So if it is not jazzy enough, what I want to do is without refresh, change the card based on some condition. Should be possible. Let's see how to go about that. So for that, my initial assumption was that I could modify the state, and if I can modify the state, the set state function, the card should re-render and show me the different card automatically. The whole framework should re-render, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, do have a look at my previous video where I explained what state is and how set state works. I would put the link for the video in the description. So let me go ahead and start create my state over here. User department, okay, I really don't care about them now, honestly. Let's call selected card ID. It's a string, keep it like this. User IM email and department. Okay, let's do this. I don't care about you right now. Initially, when the card loads, I would like to show my initial view, and then depending upon some probability after 5 seconds, I should be able to flip the card to this one. That's my functionality, right? So for the time being, the initial card, I'm okay that it is this guy. Card ID should be this guy, fair enough. Voila, voila, voila. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Now this thing, remember all the API calls, all the work which we have to do is always preferable we do it on init. So let me go ahead. I will write a set timeout function. It's of course async. Everything in life these days is async. What do I want to do? I would like to please take this thing, put it in my set timeout function. I get the card ID, and then this dot set state. And then I can say card ID, selected card ID, sorry, is my card ID. Ideally, this should work, right? But of course, no, we also need to run this after, let's say, 3 seconds. We can also put a console log over here, always helpful. From set time out, state change, okay, okay, okay. And then here, rather than saying card ID, I would say I don't care what it is, just use the state and then return it back. If this works, I should be golden, right? It is initial view. I will refresh it again. Okay, 3 seconds have passed, but I don't see anything happening. Is my code working? Okay, let's go ahead and have a look at it. It did execute the from set timeout, as you can see, but somehow my code, my card view did not get loaded, and that is a problem. So basically, we had, so this thing is working. I do set the state, but nothing happens. Now, the reason for that is this render card. This is called only once in the life cycle of the whole web part. So it's not called every time you make a set state function. So how can we do it? I thought the first thing I did was I said, okay, if framework is not calling it, maybe I can call it and this will work. So something like this dot render card, right? And still it did not work. You can do it, of course, but trust me, it will not work. And the reason for that, again, it's even we are calling this function, we do return a string back, but the framework has no clue about it because it calls rendered call only once. So it gets a value back, which is a string, but from an init, it doesn't care. Turns out the way to flip it is a bit tedious. So what we need to do is to say this dot card navigator dot pop. Remember, it's an array at the end of the day. This thing card navigator is coming from here. So we say, okay, boss, after 3 seconds, not here, basically it should be, I think here. So I would say, okay, boss, you pop up whatever value you have, the current value, and then it has an input parameter which is true and false. Do you want to re-render again or not? And I would set it to be to re-render it. So remove the previous card and then you add my card to it, whatever card I have changed. So these 2 lines are the key. Took me a while to figure this thing out. Rather than calling it, it's card ID. Gosh, it's so difficult to talk and still code. I admire the people who are on YouTube for a long time and they still can do it. They're very genius guys. So let's have a quick look if it worked properly or not. So that's my view. Control F5, refresh it. Now After 3 seconds, it should change to something. I don't know what. Yeah, there it goes. You see, now it changes automatically and I did not have to do anything. In fact, I could have, rather than set timeout, I could have had a set interval function, and it will keep on rotating every time by itself. So I really don't have to do much on that front. But the key, as I mentioned, the key to do this pop out and pop in functionality is this line: card navigator pop and card navigator push. In the next session, we will see how to go about implementing custom actions on the buttons. So remember, we have these two buttons which we have specified in our card view. What happens if I really don't want to do a quick view? I don't really want to open a pop-up, or I really don't want to send a redirect user to end user, but I really want to extend, to have my custom function and do some jazzy logic and update the field. So see you in a minute. So guys, if you like the video, please hit like, share and subscribe. Your appreciation will go a long way in curbing my laziness. See you next time.